Chainlink, the red-headed stepchild of cryptocurrency. Kind of like me. There are times when it's the talk of the town, but when things turn for the worst, everyone turns their back on it. Except Chico, because we stank. So you ready to get stinky with my linky? Well, you don't have a choice, because it's time for Chico Crypto. Ethereum, Chainlink, and settling future quadrillions. How, what, and when? Well, we think the foundation is being laid as I present this information. So, have you ever heard of the Depository Trust Clearing Corporation, DTCC? Well, it's the American post-trade financial services company, which provides trade clearing and settlement services to the big financial players. Today, the DTCC settles the vast majority of securities transactions in the US and the world, making it by far the highest financial value processor in the world. In 2019, it settled 2.15 quadrillion. Yeah, quadrillion. And in May of last year, 2020, the DTCC proposed 2 case studies to further explore the digitalization of public and private markets. As we can see, the case studies were called Project Ion and Project Whitney, with the goal of examining potential use cases of DLT, distributed ledger technology. So who is it? Who are the blockchains and distributed tech being trialed by this massive financial entity? Well, just a month after Ion and Whitney were announced, DigFin Group posted this article. DTCC looks to extend processing to digital assets, and they dive into one of the projects, specifically Whitney. DigFin said DTCC has built Project Whitney, a prototype digital infrastructure on Ethereum, a public blockchain for issuer services across primary and secondary private markets. Yes, for Whitney, and I will always love Ethereum. Yeah, they chose Ethereum to test this on just 7 months ago. So what exactly is it? Whitney is the edgier of the 2 proposals and aims to tokenize private securities and enable secondary trading. It would initially target Regulation D SEC exemption equities. So I wonder how the testing has been going and who was involved with it. Well, to find this out, you gotta look into who was working with the DTCC before Whitney on Ethereum, and those highly connected right back to Ethereum. All the way back in February of 2017, the DTCC and Digital Asset moved to the next phase of a project after a successful proof of concept for repo transactions and digital ledger technology. So they worked together back then. Is Digital Asset involved with Whitney today? Well, Ledger Insights covered the Whitney launch back then in an article titled DTCC Proposes Tokenizing Private Securities on Public Ethereum Blockchain. And they said the POC used the DAML smart contract language. If you didn't know, DAML is from Digital Asset, so DTCC and Digital Asset are connected at the hip. DTCC Project Whitney is on Ethereum. How is Digital Asset connected to Ethereum, completing the trifecta? Well, in March of this year, the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance showed how. They tweeted, EA member Digital Asset with BTP have made the DAML smart contract engine available for the EA specifications compliant Hyperledger Besu project. And if you know what Besu is, you have to know this ties right into the DTCC and Project Whitney. Besu is an Ethereum client designed to be enterprise-friendly for both public and private permission network use cases. The perfect client to serve the needs of Whitney, which needs the tokenization of private securities and the ability to trade them publicly in secondary markets. And this is further confirmed by the Ethereum heads who helped the DTCC create Whitney. The corporate heads of Ether, Consensus. In July, they put out a thorough blog post titled Major Financial Clearinghouse is Exploring Ethereum for Digital Asset Management, which explains, yes, it was fully built on Ethereum and how it uses it. Consensus said, While the DTCC chose to work with the public Ethereum network, an alternative approach used by many clients to date would be to create a private instance of Ethereum. Technologies such as Hyperledger, Besu, and Quorum have emerged as default choices for enterprise-friendly Ethereum clients. The Pegasus Suite, which was built by the team that developed Hyperledger Besu, allows enterprises to quickly spin up private Ethereum networks with advanced functionalities and 24/7 support services. Big Bond Chico is on. Hyperledger Besu is a big piece of Whitney on the client side. And guess what's a big piece of Besu? Something we covered first. Hyperledger Avalon, formerly known as the Trusted Compute Framework. You guys should remember that. I was covering it before it was Avalon, and when the Avalon announcement came in October of 2019. I knew something was up back then, but now it's all starting to come together. You go to the most recent documentation on Avalon's architecture, they show the direct model supported blockchains right out the box for Avalon. And of course it connects to Hyperledger Fabric and Ethereum, just like Whitney, but the client, just like Whitney, it's Hyperledger Besu. Now it's time to bring all the connections together, as the descriptions of what Whitney is reveal oh so much. And luckily the DTCC put out a full case study of the project describing it in detail. And in phase 1, the prototype build, a major piece of Whitney is the compliance oracle, which from the picture is highly connected to APIs. And in compliance oracle it says when a transaction is approved, the stock record is updated, and the movement of tokens on-chain occurs. Can be called through an on-chain transfer or via API. And then in API connectivity, it says REST API interfaces that enables platform parties to perform operations such as investor registration and off-chain transfer requests. On-chain transfers with stock records or off-chain with APIs. This is what compliance oracles do. Now, what was Hyperledger Avalon? Off-chain trusted compute. Going to Hyperledger's own description on what it does, it aims to enable the secure movement of blockchain processing off the main chain to dedicated computing resources. And who was the Ethereum Oracle project involved with Hyperledger Avalon? The announcement post clearly stated it, and I covered it back in 2019. Chainlink. Whitney clearly uses Besu, which uses Hyperledger Avalon, the off-chain trusted compute, of which Chainlink is the oracle piece. Whitney has a compliance oracle within it. Connections. But then, in November of last year, only a couple months ago, Chainlink dropped this blog, 77 smart contract use cases enabled by Chainlink. And in the regulation section, they specifically mention Whitney's compliance oracle, linking to the case study by the DTCC. And that case study from the DTCC, as we can see, was dropped in May of 2020. And I'm sure this is probably nothing. Weeks later, we get the announcement of the Interwork Alliance, as we can see, June of 2020, for standardizing token-powered ecosystems. Going to the Interwork Alliance members, sponsor member, digital asset, and right next to each other in principal members, Chainlink and the DTCC. Now, what I want to finish this episode off with is with the guy who knows all about the DTCC and Project Whitney, Artem Koreniuk, Executive Director of FinTech and Innovation at the DTCC. He just spoke on Project Whitney at the Ethereum and Enterprise Virtual Conference in July. Let's listen in what he had to say about the Oracle.
Has a robust off-chain compliance oracle that can maintain much more complex compliance and suitability rules than you could in a decentralized and automated pure smart contract itself. And API interfaces that allow all the different participants to connect and interface around a common multi-party workflow.
A multi-party workflow, and ain't that a coinkadink? Back in October, when Hyperledger Avalon was announced, Chainlink put out their own blog post, driving demand for enterprise smart contracts using the trusted computation framework and the tested oracles via Chainlink. And they say, Data-driven smart contracts provide one of the best solutions to automating external business processes involving multi-party workflows by reducing human and cross-network friction. Why so similar? Cheers. I'll see you next time.